Hello friends, Kuyan here, and today this is gonna be a very interesting video because I'm going to react on one of the best, which is Tav. And I really want to go back on reacting all of his videos, especially the videos taken right before disasters series. And I want to I guess rewatching all of his videos, back where I left off. So yeah, before I'm going to play this friends, hopefully you can leave a subscribe to my YouTube channel so that hopefully I can make more content like this in the future. And thank you for all your support friends, and let's get right into the video.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Tuv, and in case you guys didn't watch the video from 2 weeks ago, it was the final 2 million special. So I did take a break.
Kind of interesting because that's also the time where I also take a break from my video from Tav, actually.
Boy was kind of tired after giving you guys 2 million specials, which I am so grateful they're finally out. And in case you guys are wondering what they were, there was a video I made with Charlie reviewing plain cheeseburgers. I know, pretty morbid, right? Then I had a video called The Harsh Truth of Being a YouTuber, which was the first and only video where I was really open with you guys, letting you guys know about my life. And the third one was The Darkest TikTok Iceberg Part 4, featuring Windigoon, Nick Crowley, Next.
I think Tav really just have nothing before like YouTube. Like he was really just struggling about it until Charlie, aka Moist Critical, really like saved his YouTube career, and now he makes scary YouTube now. This really just tells you like how hard YouTube is, and even for me too.
Oh, and a bunch of other YouTubers. So in case you're wondering why I didn't upload last week, it's because I'm coming down from that, okay? Like I'm back. I'm back. I think this is the first video I record after my birthday. It was March 18th. Your boy is 22 now. 22. That is crazy. Do you
Yeah, I am also 22. I just become 22 on last November.
remember me at 19? That's wild, right? But like the title suggests, today we're going to be talking about videos that were taken before disasters.
I guess we're just the same in age actually, so that's pretty interesting to think about.
Before the entire topic does get started, I do want to give a quick thank you to Opera. I want to give a big thank you to the sponsors that keep this channel afloat.
I'm just gonna skip the ad for you friends. Oh, and also sorry for my videos that does go into gray like this. It's usually just VLC.
Or any other problem, well, Opera has you covered, or you could save it straight to your TikTok, Facebook. For Opera is sponsoring this video, and let's head back to the
It's actually very scary.
Taylor Jean Scrum. On May 24th, 2022, a 22-year-old TikToker at ninja.tay21, real name Taylor Jean Scrum, posted this video on her page.
You're going to get yourself killed on that. Don't like pause it because there's no audio in the
As you
day.
can probably tell from the caption, it was meant to hit back at people telling her she would get herself killed riding her motorcycles. Now, it's unclear at what time of the day she posted that video, but that same day in the evening, Taylor died in a bike accident while riding back home from the weekly, quote, bike night event, an event she had attended with her biker friends. The said event was held at Woody's Barbecue on Flagger Plaza off State Road 100, and it turns out that as Taylor and 3 of her friends were riding home northbound on Interstate 95, they crashed near mile marker 296 at about 9:39 p.m. And the crash was sort of bizarre because Florida Highway Patrol, who had to close the road for about 6 hours, stated that the 4 riders, quote, collided into one another for an unexplained reason. They had been traveling on the left lane, and the collision threw them onto the roadway. I think Taylor might have ended up in the center lane because the report also says that she was struck by an SUV, and that SUV had apparently been traveling in the center lane in the same direction as them. That SUV also did apparently strike another biker, an unnamed 29-year-old. Taylor and the 29-year-old died on the spot, while the 2 other bikers, aged 25 and 36, were rushed to Advent Health Palm Coast Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, they're almost like, wait, 25? They're almost like the age of me, and just kind of sad. Like some of them that have an early fatalities from this.
The SUV passengers, a 48-year-old lady and her 16-year-old daughter, were unharmed. What I also found interesting, which by the way, take this with a grain of salt because it's from an unverified source, is that there were witnesses that claimed that the bikers were racing, weaving in and out of lanes before the accident. Anyway, following her death, her social media sort of blew up as people went in to check out her stuff, especially her final video. As of now, her TikTok has over 121,000 followers, and it remains a clear memory of the kinds of thrills she was into. Her bio, for instance, reads, "Oh 309 ZX6R21 S1000RR, both bikes which she owned, and her videos revolved around bikes and a bit of horses. Her obituary does confirm this, adding that beyond horses and motorcycles, she was also into barrel dancing and quote, lived life to her fullest. Now, two things I'd also like to add to this case is that first, her Instagram had a substantial following already. That was about 40,000 followers. And second is that she did go viral not the day the crash happened, but about 3 weeks later. I'm gonna guess people were just talking about it, but I found this Reddit thread which mentioned her story and the last video. And scrolling through the posts, a lot of people do for sure have negative thoughts on motorcycle riding. One Redditor even wrote, there are two kinds of motorcycle riders, those who have crashed and those who are going to crash. Now, I'm sure this goes without saying, but if any of my subscribers watching this are motorcycle riders, please just wear your gear and your helmet. And
yeah, always wear a helmet, man. Like, I don't know, there's like multiple cases like where helmets save life.
Don't race, just go the speed limit. Just seriously, a lot of horrible stuff when it comes to motorcycles, but I know a lot of people just like them. It's not much.
It's also fairly common here in the Philippines because if you don't know, friends, like we are in the third world country. Like most of people are also rich, but they can buy like cars and those stuff. But like when they drive like a motorcycle, motorcycle are more common here in the Philippines. So most of the crashes are pretty rare. I don't see them. No, I did see a lot of like crashes and accidents with motorcycles, but cars, I'm pretty sure those are pretty rare.
Else to say about that, really. But yeah, rest in peace to Taylor, and let's head on to the next.
Yeah, it's very rough.
That's also Castile.
That's actually very fatal too, like just to get a head-on collision with an SUV. Damn.
One of the truly horrific murders to have happened in the last couple of years is that of Ali Castile, a 21-year-old from Louis, Missouri. Now, as the investigation unfolded, one piece of evidence that came out was this video shared by Oxford police. This is CCTV footage of Ali walking out of a bar in Oxford Square, which is near Ole Miss College where she was a student. This was around 11:52 p.m. on July 19th, 2019, and unfortunately, at around 10:30 a.m. on July 20th, just a few hours later, she would be found dead by a deputy on patrol near Sardis Lake, Mississippi. What transpired between those events and everything that led up to it turned out to be a wildly unsettling story that even an attorney called a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. Investigations, including that CCTV footage, revealed that after leaving the bar at around 1:30 in the morning, Castile met up with 22-year-old Brandon Thiesfeld, her on and off college lover, and they drove up to an abandoned fishing camp at Sardis Lake. It was there, a location that had been described as dark and desolate, that Brandon would proceed to shoot her 9 times. This happened between 2:15 and 2:30 in the morning. A jury report indicated someone reported having heard gunshots in the area during this time of night as they walked their dog. So what caused this seemingly unhinged murder? Well, as prosecutor Ben Creekmore put it, Brandon had to quote, get rid of a problem. Castile had gotten pregnant with his child, and might I also add that the pregnancy wasn't 100% confirmed, as she had used a home kit test, but even then in the text she just wasn't sure. She wrote him a text saying, like, it's a very faint blue line, but I don't know. I guess I can wait and see if my period comes. All this information, like I said, came out during the investigation with Castile's Apple Watch being at the center. And they had to rely on her Apple Watch because Brandon had disappeared along with her phone. But he didn't realize that the messages were synced up with her watch. It wasn't actually long before investigators found out he might have been the last person to be with her, as he had texted, "Are you going to be home today? Because I could visit," that Friday before her death. Now, of course, this is a very detailed case with lots of bits and pieces that I'm leaving out, but I think what stands out most is how much love she had for him, and he didn't return any amount of that love back, and how he premeditated the
I mean, there's love there, and it's not love, it's lead.
whole thing, even writing a letter to his parents, sort of apologizing for it. His digital footprint was also quite damning in the sense, as he had Googled things to do with getting away with crime, tying people up, working a Glock pistol, and rather unbelievably, Ted Bundy. Brandon was arrested on July 22nd, 3 days later. He was attempting
Ted Kaczynski?
to flee to Memphis, Tennessee. In his rather distinguishable truck with "Take It" plates, police found a .40 caliber gun. He got extradited back to Lafayette County, Mississippi, where he was charged with first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Rest in peace to Ali.
That's just very tragic, man. Like some people who you fall in love, man, it's like some of them are crazy,
Kyler Effinger. Earlier in January of this year, this
Oh,
video circulated widely on the internet and was a big topic in the news. That was security footage at Salt Lake City International Airport, and it shows the final moments of 30-year-old Kyler Effinger before he would later be discovered unconscious in the engine of an almost departing occupied commercial
what?
flight bound for San Francisco. Before I recap what's happening in the
Huh?
clip, let's talk about what happened before. So according to his father, Judd Effinger, Kyler had been held up in security and missed his flight. Now, nothing unusual with that information, but it turns out that he suffered a manic episode, one of many that had been happening to him for over 10 years, and that his father said usually don't end up well for him, so have that in mind. The footage is from
I see.
9:52 p.m. on New Year's Day, and the incident happened at a secured part of the terminal with a store manager calling the airport's control center to report a quote disturbance involving a passenger. That report was made while Kyler was running around and struggling with the doors. The other man seen in the footage was alleged to be a custodian at the airport, and Kyler speaks to him in between attempting to open the locked gate A2 door and gate A1 door. Also notice how he just has his socks on, carrying his shoes in his hands, which he actually uses to try to break the window next to the A1 door. By the time the Salt Lake City Police Department was being involved, he had made his way out of the emergency exit and ran down the stairwell. He quickly then made his way onto the tarmac, and images from the thermal imaging camera
For sure, he has some kind of like interesting happening on his brain. Like he's probably in a panic, like, he want to get out. Maybe try to ride the plane. And I guess that makes him like, you know, died from the engine, I guess.
show him approaching the slowly taxiing Delta Airlines plane. The footage cuts before he gets to the plane, but according to the reports, he ended up reaching the plane, having taken off his clothes along the way and used a de-icing pad to crawl his way up inside the engine. Officers and airport operation workers who had been searching for him discovered him unconscious and tried to remove him via the removable cover of the engine, the cowling. Although they did, attempts to revive him, including administering naloxone, were unsuccessful and he was pronounced dead. Naloxone, in case you didn't know, is used by medics in order to rapidly reverse an opioid overdose. Additional information from the family said that Kyler could have been triggered by the airport's stress, missing his flight, and believing he was being profiled by the TSA.
Yeah, maybe that too. Like he's trying to escape. Maybe he's panic. Like he's maybe, threatened by the government, I guess, in this case.
Kyler had also apparently been trying to catch a flight to Denver after learning that his grandfather was in the final stages of life. It is yet to be established through a toxicology report what exactly was his cause of death. His family's take on the situation? Well, this. Apparently, although failing to seek clinical help for his condition was a sign of protest against his bullies, self-medicating with marijuana didn't help him get a good grasp of the episodes, and it ended tragically. Rest in peace to Kyler.
It does make sense, friends, because I did hear that marijuana can cause like weird manic and paranoia. Even though some consider it like, I guess, the healthiest drug, but like it still causes something, can damage your brain, especially used at the early age too. Like I've heard from, science, medical stuff. But don't quote me, I'm not a medical person.
Kyle Careford and Michael Owen. It's one thing for a video of a disaster to exist out of chance, like for example CCTV footage, but then it's a completely different situation when the family themselves release the deceased person's video just to warn others. I'm talking about this video from 2015. The two men recording themselves were Kyle Careford and Michael Owen. Owen, 21, a father of one, was the one recording, and Careford, 20, was the unlicensed driver behind the wheel. It turns out that the two were high on a cocktail of drugs, and as you can probably tell from the footage, they were
That's so bad, man. You don't have, driving under the influence. It's kind of interesting. Like they also designated that, like they changed it to drunk driving, but I guess this is like driving under the influence, because it does make sense, like you don't know what you're influenced by, but this is just so dangerous. You're playing Russian roulette in this case.
gassing each other up, even to the point where Owen says, "You're doing 90, boys, slow down." Driving Owen's Renault Clio, they had been speeding through the Rotherfield Road and
Hopefully they're also on seatbelts. That would be very disastrous if they're not on
Crowborough
seatbelts.
countryside, East Sussex, England, in the early hours of April 12, 2015, before Careford lost control and plowed into a St. Michael's Parish church's wall. They both died instantly besides having their seatbelts on, and actually at the end of the video,
That's actually very interesting. They actually still die even with their seatbelts on. That is pretty interesting though, that they'll have their seatbelts on. But I guess, the debris has caused them to shatter their skull. Yes. I'm not hopeful for that. But yeah, that's just That's extremely brutal, man.
2015, before Careford lost control and plowed into a St.
Yeah.
Michael's Parish church's wall. They both died instantly besides having their seatbelts on. And actually,
Damn.
at the end of the video, you can hear someone call out, "Can you hear me?" But there's no response. Releasing the footage, Owen's mother, Kat, said that she hoped it would stop others from making a decision like her son. She added that she blamed the both of them for the incident. Careford's family also spoke on the internet, with his brother even saying that he hoped that the footage could connect to even one person and prevent them from causing a great harm to not only themselves but their entire family. And as I stated before, both Careford and Owen were high at the time. Apparently they had taken a bunch of prescribed and illegal drugs that had completely impaired their ability to drive a vehicle. It would thus be no wonder that they were doing 90 on a 30. Now, an interesting yet morbid thing I found about this case is the duality of Owen, because while on one side he behaved erratically and irresponsibly, on the other side, his ex-partner, Lauren Humble, said, "The Michael that we saw in that video was not the Michael that we knew, who was a loving, caring, responsible daddy." His mother also said that he was a brilliant father who everybody loved. Owen left behind daughter Lily Rose, who Lauren Malloy said would have to live with the horrific impact of the situation forever. What's even sadder is that he had been preparing for her 5th birthday, and he had also received news of a job offer. He had been working at a book printing firm, and the offer was for a position at a window screen repair firm where his stepbrother worked. Yep, pretty devastating.
That's crazy though. It's just perfectly normal person, you know, just can die from that, from like extremely terrific accident. Like, but also like that is very irresponsible though. Like you could know like the risk from doing that, like especially driving in this case. I guess they were just like having fun and you know teaching the drug filled person to like drive shit. But that's always like a bad idea, you know. Never ever do that. But yeah, that's just heartbreaking, man. Like losing a father like that, especially like a young age. Damn,
Situation overall. Rest in peace to these two men.
this is sort
Sonu Jaiswal. On January 15th, 2023, Sonu Jaiswal, an Indian citizen, recorded this video while aboard a passenger plane just about to land in Pokhara, Nepal. At the start of the video, he's calm and you can tell he's just documenting his experience as he pans the camera to capture different angles, including himself,
Is this like an airline?
the outside, and the inside of the plane, who was actually sharing this footage via a Facebook live stream. However, about 50 seconds into the 1.5-minute video, you can hear screams and the camera shakes violently, indicating that this was the moment disaster struck. That plane, a 15-year-old ATR-72 owned by Yeti
This isn't the plane that crashed, just the model. I see.
Airlines, crashed into a gorge, the Seti.
Oof. Oh shit. Oh man, that is just a bad way to land, man. That is so steep. That's like a wall there. Damn. That is fatal. That is non-survivable, my friend. I guess like I've even like hear and see like some of the planes that can survive. Like most of those plane that ride planes, like the passengers, even though they crash, especially at the plane the a flat ground, or maybe like I guess in a street, there's like common street also landing for emergency landings. But yeah, usually like some people can survive it, but this gorge, man, like that's crazy. That is so steep.
Gorge, with half of it hanging on the hillside and the other half falling down into the bank of the Seti Gandaki River. The incident also happened to have been captured by another camera angle. According to news reports, local
Oh man, come on YouTube. I want to watch this, man. At least, you know, like just try to see the other angle.
TV showed huge thick smoke coming up from the crash site, indicating a possible fire. This was confirmed to be true as other close-up photos and videos began being shared on social media. It was clear that the impact had caused the plane to go up in flames. The impact was also so brutal that all 72 people on board, 68 passengers and 4 crew members, died. Sonu had apparently traveled to Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, to visit a temple to pray for a son. What's also a little disturbing but just coincidental about this case is that the co-pilot, Anju Kadiwada, had lost her pilot husband, Deepak Pakrel, several years earlier in 2006 after he too crashed while piloting a different Yeti Airlines plane, a DHC-6 Twin Otter 300. His plane had also burst into flames upon impact. So what caused the crash? Well, the official report attributed it to pilot error. It stated that the sudden tilting of the plane was due to the pilot pulling on the wrong lever when preparing to land from an altitude altitude of about 721 feet. Instead of changing the wing flap angle, the lever that was pulled changed the propeller angle, causing the plane to lose momentum.
Oh, that's also like very weird, like how the plane, just swerving around.
There's a whole technical explanation of what exactly happened, but just know that there were two levers next to each other, the condition lever and the flap lever. The pilot pulled the condition lever by mistake. The report also added that it was likely that the pilots were distracted. Also worth mentioning that Nepal has had a particularly bad history when it comes to airplanes, as between 1960 and 2022, a total of 106 planes have crashed, with a death toll of about 590.
Damn, I'm not traveling Nepal with an airplane. God damn, that is crazy.
About half the crashes involve the twin-engine planes, which is like the one Sonu was on. Part of the hazards of flying there have also been attributed to mountainous terrain, unpredictable weather, poor visibility, and an aging fleet of planes. Remember, this specific plane that Sonu was on was 15 years old, and it's still pretty unbelievable that by chance, he captured his last moments on a Facebook livestream. Rest in peace to everyone on board.
And that's also very fatal because it's a mountain.
Hakan Aysal. The story of Hakan Aysal is a great example of a really stupid way to commit a crime. Why? Well, in this last moment video, Aysal is seen sort of luring his heavily pregnant wife, 32-year-old Semra, down to a cliff's edge on the scenic Butterfly Valley in Muğla, Turkey.
That's actually very sad. Like, why are you murdering your pregnant wife? What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is this person?
Where they are is actually a popular tourist stop as it offers a breathtaking view of Kabak Bay, an equally popular destination. In fact, this is the reason that the video exists, because as Aysal led his pregnant wife down, other tourists were in that same location and they were filming randomly, and it was by chance that the daughter of one of the tourists caught the couple on camera. You can see at the end of the video that
this is like the daughter, like holding the camera. It's actually pretty disturbing though.
Appear out of frame, but it later came to be revealed that although pretending to take a selfie with her, he had ended up pushing her down the 1,000-foot high ledge. Reason? Well, like I said, it was a rather foolish attempt to commit a crime, insurance fraud. This was revealed during
insurance fraud. That is so disgusting, man. You kill your wife over money? That's
the hearing, where it came out that just days after the incident, he had tried to cash out on their £40,000, approximately $50,000 insurance policy, which actually rather strangely had him enlisted as the only beneficiary. The insurance payment was
That's also pretty disgusting, man. Like, you know that you can get caught by that because your name is on the insurance stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure the insurance company won't, do some investigations over that.
When the news of the investigation was unveiled. His version of the events? Well, he said that after taking a selfie, Semra put the phone in her bag, which they left a few steps away from where they later sat. Then she had apparently requested him for the same phone, and as he got up to walk to the bag, he heard her scream only to find that she was no longer there. His story, however, didn't hold up as there was a mountain of evidence against him. For example, there's already the video footage that the other tourists took, and those who witnessed it even said that Aysal was acting strangely with the mother of the daughter who took the video. Oddly enough, the woman even joked and said either this man will throw the woman off or the woman will throw the man, which is really creepy looking back on.
Yes, like, whoa, that is pretty creepy joke right there.
And there were also claims that
it's like almost your instincts are like kicking, and then like, maybe this will happen. It's like, damn, you're actually right.
The couple had been on the cliff for about 3 hours, assuming that Aysal was waiting for there to be no witnesses around. That's why there's no footage of him actually doing it. It also emerged, claimed by her brother Yoku, that Semra had taken out 3 loans on behalf of Aysal despite her well-known attitude against taking loans. Lastly, an additional damning piece of evidence was how everyone claimed how he didn't seem moved by his wife's death. For example, Sait Erturk, a driver that he flagged down to help after she, quote, fell, said he did not accompany them to search for the body. He had apparently been, quote, carefree and calm, not acting anything like a man who just lost his wife due to falling off a cliff. Now, Aysal tried claiming insanity to avoid prosecution, but after medics confirmed he was in fact okay, he was sentenced to life in prison in 2022. The court stated that he must serve at least...
That's at least that I can appreciate from, like Europe. I think this happens in Europe. They at least have life sentences there. Thank God.
least 30 years before he could ever be considered to be released. This is just one of those horrible cases where, oh my god, I absolutely hate this one. But yeah, rest in peace to
Yeah,
Semra and her child.
that's just so sad.
Linda
She's also like pregnant too, so that's just very horrible.
Almond. For the second time in this video, we're going to be talking about a Facebook live stream that had a devastating ending.
Interesting.
This here is a video from the live stream by 55-year-old Linda Almond, a resident of Waverly, Tennessee.
Well, if anybody's seen me on Facebook Live, we're being flooded right now in Waverly, Tennessee. Really scary.
Those are fairly common here in the Philippines. Like a lot of people unfortunately die from these floods, hurricanes, strong winds, landslide, because weather and earthquakes are more likely common here in the Philippines. Here in my country though, here in, below in the south, usually here is just a large body of, I guess in this case, more plain. We also live majority in the mountains, like not like a tall mountains, like fairly like I guess a mountain, It's a very interesting thing because you can see like a mountain and it's very steep, and then you can see like a very flat plain from the out from the top of the mountain where we used to live, and it's where we currently live too. But it's very interesting. Like most of the stuff, I also heard like they don't flood as often. Like that, I guess it's too plain for it. I guess it's very wide to have like floods, but sometimes there are cases where flood can still happen.
Uh,
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Oh, hell, I wish I had one of those.
I think so. We just hit the side of the house.
I need a light.
Oh, I didn't know that their house is also filled with water now.
This is scary. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
In the video, she basically puts it out there that they're being flooded, terming it as, quote, really scary. Her final words before the footage cuts out, as you just have heard, were, "This is really scary. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness." Shortly after, Almond and her son Tommy, both who were on the roof of their house, were swept away by rushing water after the roof collapsed. And while Tommy was rescued by authorities, Almond sadly didn't make it. Now, all this happened in August of 2021, and the mind-blowing thing is that it was caused by a staggering 17 inches of rain that fell in Humphreys County in just under 24 hours. That amount of rain had actually not been recorded in the area ever before. It was reported as having broken the previous record for most rain to have ever fallen in Tennessee within a 24-hour period. The only other time such a thing had been witnessed was the single-day record of 9.45 inches from back in 2010
Wow.
in Nashville, which is about 60 miles away. And even crazier is that about 9 inches of it fell within just 3 hours. It thus makes
Wow, that is actually very rapid. Like in just 3
sense
hours.
why, despite the rain having begun on a Saturday, by the time Almond was going live at about 10:15 a.m., the flash flood waters had risen quite significantly to the point that they were carrying debris and throwing it around. In fact, in the video,
I don't know which part of this in the town. Like, was this like a plain or was this right beside the river? Because usually river are more likely to flood towns.
you can hear a voice, presumably that of Tommy, saying that something just hit the side of their house. Now, as I mentioned, Almond never made it as her body wasn't found in the flood waters. At 2 p.m. on the following day, Sunday, her family confirmed that indeed she had passed away and that her body had been later recovered by authorities who were certain she died in the water. What's even worse was that her death was not isolated. The rains apparently kept on, and by Tuesday of the following week, a total of 21 people had been declared dead, with 10 others being reported missing. The flood had caused devastation that ran for about 10 miles, with local Sheriff Davis stating that rescue operations were not only overwhelmed, but that the situation was expected to remain the same for about 30 more days. Now, having learned all that, the video feels even more heartbreaking, and what's sad is that such a situation is likely to
Most of them are also children that died from this flood.
repeat itself because, as a reply to this comment pointed out, there's a chance such rain is not predicted in time in some areas. But yeah, rest in peace to Linda.
That's crazy too. Like you never really mess with weather, man. Like I actually very interestingly read some books about art of war from Sun Tzu. Like his number 2, like the fundamentals of warfare, is about weather and time and season, which is actually very interesting. He called it like heaven. It's actually a very interesting way to like visualize the warfare. But basically, friends, there's like 5 fundamentals. The first one is the way, usually like harmony. Second is like heaven, just the weather, the season, the time. The third is Earth, and Earth is actually the most complicated, as he said. Like it's all about positioning, numbers of troops, I guess, strategy and stuff. Even like I guess way to strategize like plans, tactics. Even I don't know what's the fourth and the fifth one, but I think it was general, and I guess the last yes, I think the fourth one is like the leader, also just the general. I don't know what it was, but I think I forgot. And fifth is I think discipline. Yes, I think it was discipline. It's a very interesting book. I would love to read it fully. I only read the beginning part of it, and it's very very cool.
Ran the bus driver. In 2018, this video caused a lot of officials
Wait, his name is Ran.
in China to be furious as it led to deaths that most thought could be avoided. In the video, you can see the driver, 42-year-old Ran, in a heated exchange with a passenger who was later identified as 48-year-old Liu. Liu can be seen slapping the driver with her cell phone before he hits back, losing control of the bus in the process. This incident happened in the city of Chongqing, China.
Oh my God, it's a bridge. Oh shit. Oh no. They just fell from the bridge. Also, what are they arguing? Like that seems very sad. They're also like arguing while the bus driver's,
And the
driving.
bus unfortunately plunged about 200 feet down into the Yangtze River. Yes, they were doing all that while crossing the iconic but also really high second Guangzhou Yangtze River Bridge. There's actually this camera footage from outside the bus, which shows the moment the driver lost control. He veered
Yeah.
off into the oncoming lane and crashed into a sedan before rolling off the edge of the bridge down into the river. It was confirmed
Wait, also there was also a car that he hit.
that at the time of the accident, there were about 15 people inside the bus, with none having survived. The bus actually
Whoa! Damn. None of them survived? At least in some incidents, there are always something or someone that survived, but damn, this is like 100% fatality. That's crazy. That is crazy. None of them survived. That's actually very scary.
plunged about 215 feet below the surface of the water, meaning it was very difficult for anyone to make it. That's also probably why out of 15 fatalities, only 13
I guess in the end of the day, there is like an increased pressure with the water while you get slammed by the bus, I guess in this case, and the water just rushed within you and you just became unconscious from it. And you probably never had the chance to, I guess, get out from that bus and swim away.
bodies were retrieved and identified, while 2 remained missing. Also worth noting is that the rescue operation was quite huge given the nature of the location and accident. About 50 firefighters, 5 fire engines, and 2 rescue boats were dispatched to the scene, where the only indication of the sunken bus was oil fragments floating atop the waters. And that wasn't enough, because a 60-ton capacity crane had to also be dispatched to pull the wreckage out of the water. So we already know that this horrific accident was caused by a brawl, but what exactly were they
Yeah,
fighting
what?
about? Well,
Huh?
turns out that the woman, Liu, had missed her stop and wanted to be let off the bus, but Rand didn't want to hear any of that. That's how she ended up hitting him, and he retaliated. And as I said before, when people learned that this was the cause of the accident, they were nothing but infuriated. An avoidable petty fight that ended
Yeah,
up claiming
like what?
tens of lives. These
Like 50 of the people couldn't just die if you just stop. That's it. That's kind of insane.
sentiments were apparently mostly expressed on Weibo, a popular social media platform in China, with users, for example, stating, "In a few seconds, a whole bus of life is lost," and "The price of acting on impulse is too grave." The official police statement also blamed the fight on mutual fist-fighting behavior. What I also found surprising about this case is that it's
I'm pretty sure that's not mutual there, my friends. I'm pretty sure like China always have like very weird, friendly, mutual. There's just a mutual fight, It's just mutual.
seems that bus driver and passenger fights are sort of common in China. A commentary published in a local newspaper, People's Daily for instance, stated, "We have to ask, why do fistfights between passengers and drivers keep happening?"
Huh, that's actually an interesting culture there. Because here in the Philippines, we absolutely don't have that. Because, it's very bad. Like, I guess you can think of us as like Japan. Like, if we work in a certain way and we do a certain thing. And usually we don't do things that are disrespectful to other people.
But yeah, rest in peace to everyone that was on board on that bus.
Yeah.
Sinking ship. Next up is this chilling video recorded by a 17-year-old Korean student moments before he and hundreds of others died when a ferry that they were on, MV Sual, capsized and sank. Now the entire video is disturbing, but what I found pretty
Whoa.
odd but interesting is that some of the students were making jokes as the ferry was leaning on its side, but I'm gonna assume they weren't aware of what was about to happen.
It's actually crazy because I'm pretty sure much ferries or ships are designed to not to capsize because capsizing is just very difficult to like, I guess, get out because you have no chance to even like get out from the ship because it's almost upside down.
In this translated version of the video, as the announcer cautions them to remain in the same location and be prepared for a quote dangerous situation.
What? You should just prepare them outside of the ship. Just in case, shit hits the fan.
One student asks, "Is it sinking for real?" And as the announcer keeps going, another student chimes in, "Nonsense." Later, someone suggests that they take a photo as part of their last memories, and jokingly, another one
Damn, that is just sad.
says, "Take a photo like this, like a man against gravity." That was right before yet another student shouts, "This is fun." And another comments, "This is like Titanic," before they start singing the Titanic theme song. That video cuts off.
That's actually very wholesome that they know about the Titanic and know like what happened in the Titanic and the song of the Titanic. That's actually pretty iconic. But yeah, they were not in the show, man. Or I guess they were part of the show. I guess in this case, if you can't think about it. But yeah, it's pretty dark. It's unfortunate that they die so young, man. That's also kind of crazy that that ferry is designed to even capsize to begin with. Like engineers should always avoid capsizing the ship.
Off as one student tells his mom and dad he loves them as his final words. The video, which circulated widely, was shared with South Korean media by a father to one of the 323 students who had been aboard the ferry. There had been a total of 476 people on board. I should also add that the student, Park Soo-hyun, had apparently shot an entire 15 minutes of video detailing the last few moments on the ferry, and so what I just shared here.
What? There's like 4,000 people? And what? I guess the announcer don't want everyone to panic, like, I guess it's just best case to always, like, prep people outside of the ship. Also, do they even have any type of lifeboats? Like, just for emergency's sake?
Here is a little section of it. The faces of the teenagers are blurred out as Park's father requested this to be done as a way to respect the privacy of the families mourning their loved ones. Anyway, what followed was a disaster that haunts South Korea till this day. The final death toll, for instance, revealed that out of the 476 passengers, 304 died.
Oh my god. That's crazy, Like, sometimes, like, there's almost like 1-to-3 ratio. No. Yeah, 1-to-3 ratio, I guess. Yeah, well, just 1% of that like survive. Because from the 400, I thought it was 1,000. Like I thought I hear 1,000 there, but yeah, that's 400 people. But yeah, that's still crazy.
And among
All of this incident are extremely fatal.
Among
Actually,
those, 5 bodies were never recovered. In addition, of the 299 bodies that were recovered, 250 were of second-year high school students. Why such a large number of students on board? Well, they had gone for a school trip to the scenic Jeju Island, and sadly, they never even made it to the island as the ferry sank on its way there.
Damn.
This was around 8:05 in the morning on April 16, 2014, and rescue efforts began immediately after a distress signal was received, with private fishing boards being hailed for helping rescue more passengers than the Coast Guard. Actually, the government.
what? How are the fishers save more lives than the Coast Guard? Have they been like being paid from that? That's actually crazy. That there must be like corruption going on there.
ended
For sure, all the Koreans that are watching right now in this video are, they know that their own government is, against them. 'Cause I actually heard like a long news while ago. I think it was like almost a month or a year ago, I think, where the government, tried to have like authoritarian like stuff going on, which is actually very weird.
up taking a lot of the blame due to the perception that the Coast Guard as an agency did not put in enough effort in the rescue mission, especially
Yeah.
in mobilizing help in time. And the
You could have like saved a lot of people, like just like, damn all the reputation, just save people's lives.
blame didn't stop there because the captain escaped first, leaving the passengers with the instruction to just stay put. The control tower was also faulted for not acting
Man, come on, man. Like man, this is so disrespectful from the, I guess sea tradition. Like the captain will always stay and sink with the ship. That's a very interesting tradition actually from the sea. Like captain will always, like not the captain will always be on the ship even while sinking, or the last one who's going to get out from the ship. It's actually a very, very fascinating tradition from the sea.
Swiftly,
I kind of like it actually.
and the then president, Park Geun-hye, was blamed for not appearing in public for a whole 7 hours after the disaster had already occurred. All these factors compounded were taken to imply failure in leadership after the disaster unfolded. The investigations into the incident were concluded in January of 2017, surprisingly with only the captain getting a prison sentence.
Really, man? And how much?
Anyway, after
And we don't even know. Damn it.
math aside, why did the ferry sink? Well, reports indicated 3 main reasons. First, some dangerous renovations with regulatory approval had been done on the vessel, raising its center of gravity. Second, on the fateful day, the ferry had drained most of its ballast water, which it needed for balance.
Yeah, it's usually, friends, like majority of like ships, when they're trying to like capsize on the right side, they actually counter flood the other side so that they can just like, stabilize. It's actually a very interesting like plan to flood your own ship, like, on purpose so that you can balance the ship so that it doesn't capsize. So in this case, their flood system basically just was not functioning, or it was like not filled up.
And third, it was overloaded with cargo, carrying more than twice the legal limit. Again, lots of blame went to governing authorities, with even claims that they had looked the other way. What's really gut-wrenching, as I've stated before, is how this affected the families.
Kind of crazy, like sometimes, just the stars is just aligned for the situations to happen like that. That's actually kind of crazy.
It was extremely difficult for them to move on from this.
It's just like a very bad timing and just very bad misjudgment of the situation, and also just, complete ignorance from it.
For example, I found an article from 2022 stating that 8 years after the disaster, some parents even killed themselves. Others got divorced, and some kept protesting, fueled by grief and anger. Yeah, rest in peace to everyone involved in this sinkage.
Man, I can't imagine my children to do that too. Like, I can't blame all the parents too. Like, that is just crazy. It's kind of chilling me right now. Are you chilled right now? Like, my entire body's just, goosebumps, I guess. Oof.
Burcu Saglam. Let's end with this video where a 22-year-old Turkish beautician, Burcu Saglam, is seen capturing what would turn out to be her final moments right before a horrific crash. In the video, you can tell she's enjoying the views from the cockpit of a single-engine plane as she pans the camera around to show.
Yeah, kind of cool. Like, sometimes that effect, friends, like, because the camera is like 24 frames, capturing, and the propeller is also like spinning in, I guess, in the complete circular motion. It usually just stays there because that's the time where the camera, always consistently captures. So it's like, while I guess the propeller in this case was spinning, you only captured that part of the propeller.
Different sides.
That's why it feels like the propeller isn't moving anywhere. It's actually a very funny effect.
Of the plane. There's also some stitched-in footage of the plane taxiing on the runway a little while before they took off. Now, unfortunately, moments later, at about 3:32 p.m., while she was about 3,937 feet in the air, the plane had lost communication with the control tower. This was about 15 minutes after they got taken off from a small town near Istanbul, around 78 miles from the takeoff point. Workers at a nearby natural gas plant informed authorities of an object plunging from the sky. This object turned out to be the plane that Saglam and Hakan Koksal, an experienced 54-year-old pilot, were traveling in. The fall was actually captured in a video, and it was clear that they hit a 380.
Man, I swear, like, YouTube is always trying to like censor YouTubers, other YouTubers, man.
1,000-volt power line on their way down. The plane immediately burst into flames upon that impact. Bodies of the two were found near the crash site by the search and rescue team.
Damn.
As to how they died, the local mayor, Aliner Actis, without specifically which, said that one of them was believed to have been ejected from the aircraft, falling to their death, while the other one died while the plane caught fire upon impact. An even sadder part of the story is that Saglam's parents were not aware of her flying escapade, as she had only notified them that morning that she was leaving home in search of a job. She had also apparently posted on social media that same day with a caption saying, "Bye." Now, as to what caused the crash, an investigation concluded that it was just bad weather. The plane apparently clipped a pylon. The wing struck.
What? Really? It seems like a pretty normal day, like it's not like bad weather. Or also like air traffic control could have like warned them if there are bad weather.
Structure that supports the engine, causing it to plummet uncontrollably. The Transportation Safety Investigation Center blamed Coxel for having initiated navigation of the flight without evaluating the weather. This meant that as conditions deteriorated on their return leg, he panicked and, quote, lost situational awareness. So the legal fall was fully a pilot error. The investigation determined that no other parties could be blamed for the crash. But yeah, rest in peace to these two people. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I know this one was a bit on the sadder side, but I hope you guys appreciated the way I explained things, and if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like on the video. If you are new to the channel, it would be awesome if you could subscribe.
I guess that'll end the video there, friends. I always like never ask for people to like the video because I just prefer subscribing for people. Subscribing is really just weighted a lot than like, you know, liking a video, which is very interesting stuff there. But yeah, friends, like that was actually very sad. I don't know what else to like say from there, but yeah, if you want to check, friends, you can, you know, look at the video is called Videos Taken Right Before Disaster Part 1. I think this is Part 1, and you can see it on Tav's video, which is available on my description below this video. So if you want to check this channel, you know, you don't need to search it, you can look at the description below, and also, you know, hopefully you can subscribe me on my YouTube channel so that I can support me from, you know, reacting more videos like this in the future. But usually I always like love supporting my other creators that I've been, you know, reacting. I always love Tav, Nexpo, and Nick Crowley. I guess hopefully some more YouTubers that I would love to react someday. I might actually try to even react on Charlie's video, but most of his video is short. But it would be very good to, like, you know, react on Charlie too. Voice Critical. Maybe hopefully we can be sent by the YouTube gods. We can be blessed by YouTube gods. But usually no. I'm just a simple student. Love reacting to my favorite YouTubers. Maybe someday I can make some kind of things when it comes to YouTube. You know, I always love YouTube. I've been watching YouTube since I was a teenager in high school. But I guess I was pretty late on the YouTube game, making YouTube videos and reaction like this. But yeah, friends, hopefully you enjoyed the video too. So it's a very amazing video. So thank you, friends, for giving the time to watch this video and still watching this video. Good evening, friends.